Good Wednesday morning, everybody. Chris Allen here on the Sam channel, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and X, all sponsored by Ace Hardware Marketplace. Well, the big story is that Idalia, the hurricane, making landfall here just a few minutes ago. And it is a pretty big hurricane, as expected, category 3, but actually it was a 4 last hour. It went to a category 4, but it has come back down to a category 3. So the winds are still, though, over 110 miles per hour sustained, gust of 120, 125. It's still a very powerful storm. And as you can kind of see over my shoulder here, I've got all the different weather sources up, and as usual, the weather reporters are out there in it, and they're swaying with the wind, and some of them will be in the water and all this the usual stuff. But it's a pretty big hurricane, kind of unprecedented in that it's hitting that Big Bend area of Florida, which has been a very, very long time before or since they've had that kind of impact there in that particular area. More on the hurricane in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at what's going on this Wednesday morning from our perspective. And we're seeing some dense fog this morning over in the eastern part of our viewing area. Once you go out the Cumberland Parkway and down toward the Cumberland Plateau, that's where you're finding a lot of dense fog down toward Dale Hollow Lake and Lake Cumberland, Green River Lake area, all under a dense fog advisory this morning. But you can also see some streaming high clouds here with some of this is the outer cloud bands from Idalia. In fact, I can move the radar and the satellite down, and you can see all the watches and the warnings. There's been a couple of tornado warnings that have been out. This is Idalia. As you can see, the eye wall is right there over that. This is what they call the Big Bend area of Florida, the West Coast. I can turn on the radar, and it's pretty impressive too. From say out of Tallahassee. Uh, yeah, okay. I know there's a hurricane warning there. Let me get the the radar doesn't want to come up. I want to hit that radar. There it comes. Ooh, look at that. Now that is mighty impressive. And it's right around the eye wall just made landfall right south of Perry, Florida. This contains, of course, a lot of wind, a lot of rain. You can see a couple of lightning strikes in there, but it's making landfall at this moment as a category 3 hurricane. So it makes it a major hurricane. To find your bearings here, there's Gainesville, Florida, there's Jacksonville, there's Lake City. Then you get into Valdosta, Georgia. There's already been, in fact, there's a tornado warning there, Brunswick, Georgia. So this is now going to take a path and start to move a little further north and east, and then be downgraded to a category 2, category 1, and then it's going to go into subtropical, or actually extratropical, as it moves off, and then back into the Atlantic. But pretty impressive first major hurricane of this Atlantic season. So there you get a bird's eye view of it with the eye wall very prominent there, just a little south of Perry, Florida. And it's going to be a rough go there. And we're hoping that everybody has paid attention to the warnings and paid attention to the path, the potential path, and all of that. In fact, here's that from the National Hurricane Center. And I show you this because I know that there are a lot of you that have friends and family down that way. It's not going to affect us here in Kentucky, but it is going to affect parts of southern Georgia, South Carolina, maybe a little sliver of the outer banks of North Carolina. And then it's just going to be a tropical storm as it heads back into the Atlantic over the next few days through the Labor Day weekend, and maybe even affecting Bermuda, which is right here, as a tropical storm. So it's got a lot of characteristics to it, high tides and surf and uh, damaging wind potential, tornado potential, heavy rain potential, 10 to 20 inches of rain. In some cases, that's going to be the case. So, yeah, that's going to be something to continue to watch throughout the holiday weekend. All right, let's come back here to home. And we're starting out this morning with some very pleasant temperatures, upper 50s to low 60s, but it is east of Bowling Green where we find some of the fog, very dense fog this morning as you head east of 65. So be careful with that this morning. Let's see here. I want to try looking some of the cameras. Here's Warren County out at the Ag Expo farm. Everything's looking good there. But let's go further south. I'm curious what it looks like down in Tville. I think there's one there we can look at if I can get it to. Yeah, it's hazy. This is 7 miles southwest of Tompkinsville in Monroe County, where it's 56 degrees. And you can see some of the haziness to the sky and even a few. Now, those clouds are actually some of the high, very high cirrus clouds, outer bands of Idalia. That's all we're going to get out of it is maybe some of those high clouds to the east of us this morning. So take that into consideration when you're looking up at the sky and you're seeing that today. Let's see. This is Albany, Clinton County. It's not bad, but you can see some of those high clouds. Again, look at that. Yeah. Even this far away, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of miles away. And some of those outer cloud bands even affecting us, right now. So there you go. But watch out for the dense fog in a lot of places out to the east of us this Wednesday morning. All right, let's take a look at the model blender. And good news is we're going to get a few more cool-ish days before we start to warm up again. But as I've mentioned the last couple of days, when you look at this, okay, so low 80s today, around 80 tomorrow, maybe even upper 70s for some of you. I mean, golly, that's beautiful. Look at those lows in the 50s. It's not until we get into the actual holiday weekend starting Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we start to gradually warm up mid 80s. I'm not pushing too high into the upper 80s. We may touch 90 on occasion, maybe even Labor Day on Monday. We may hit 90. But you can see even from yesterday, some of those mid or closer to mid 90 temperatures have come down into the low 90s. And I think some of that is still overdone. It's going to warm up, yes, but I don't think it's going to be oppressively hot and humid. The humid part, I know, is not going to be that bad. It may get warm, it may get toasty, but I don't think it's going to get very oppressive. So there's your good news. The weather is going to stay absolutely fantastic from now all the way through the Labor Day weekend. Uh, you know, make those outdoor plans. Go have the cookout. Go to the lake. Do whatever you're going to do outdoors. Celebrate the unofficial end of summer this weekend and just enjoy because the weather is not, I repeat, not going to be a problem here in Southern Kentucky. But of course, our thoughts and prayers with the folks in Florida and all that they're going through. It's going to be a rough go there for a while. Here's a look at the model map, and you can see very well defined there, Idalia and we can watch it over the course of the next 2 days or so. Continue to make its path through the northern half of Florida, the Panhandle, a little east of the Panhandle, then going into southern Georgia, through Savannah, Augusta. Then the heavy rains move into the Carolinas, and then this thing is going to go back into the Atlantic as a tropical storm. But notice over our area, nothing. High pressure is going to continue to be the dominating factor here for a while. And that's why I say we've got no weather worries here at all. So, yeah, just keep those outdoor plans and celebrate. It's going to be a good one. All right, here's a look at the surface map over the next several days. There you see depicted in the yellow the fog that is going on this morning from east of 65 into the eastern and central parts of Kentucky. Again, that front is falling apart that's coming through right now. It's not going to do anything. It's just going to fall apart, move away. You can see all the heavy rains with Idalia, and it's primarily going to be east of the Smokies. Once you get on the other side of the mountains, that's where the rains are going to be for the remainder of the Labor Day weekend. Here we go into Thursday morning. Yeah, still maybe some patchy fog in a couple of places, but that's it. Thursday afternoon, here comes Friday morning. High pressure still here. Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. There's just nothing. Now, there is some rain trying to get going with the next system out in the plains, but it may take, oh gosh, maybe a week from today or after before we begin to see any of that here in southern Kentucky. So there you go. All right, that'll do it for this Wednesday edition of the Sam Channel podcast. I'm on the air right now at Sam 100.7 until 10 a.m. And then, of course, I'll be on your TV tonight at 5, 6, and 10 at News 40. In the meantime, God bless you. Thank you for watching and have a great Wednesday.